There is a reason that you actually feel different after you take a walk outside, and I'll prove it to you. Hello, and welcome back to Cozy with Chelsea, a podcast to nourish your mind, body, and soul. I am Chelsea, your host. Today, I want to really talk about nature's role in regulating the nervous system. I'm going to dive into the science behind it, but also just the innate knowing that I think we all have that nature is good for us. Nature will heal us and does. So before we get super into the sciencey stuff, I just want to touch on the nervous system and the different states. So we have the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. The sympathetic is the activated version, right? So it's like the fight, flight, freeze response. Parasympathetic is when we are relaxed. It's the relax, digest. Now, it's not necessarily bad to be in one or the other. There's a reason that we have both modes. The issue is when we get stuck in the sympathetic. When we're stuck in that fight, flight, freeze, fawn, all the F's, that's how I refer to it. We don't want to be stuck there, right? And as you probably know, when you spend time in nature, it helps to regulate your nervous system. I want to dive into why it does that and how to get out there in nature so that we are regulated. Now, I have some studies, so I will link them in the show notes, but I wanted to actually do some research on this because I know I go for a walk outside, I feel better. You know, if I go sit near trees, I feel better. If I walk barefoot, I feel better. And I know this, and my body seems to know that I need it. Even just this morning, I was sitting outside, immediately felt better than when I was inside typing on my computer. But I wanted to really understand why this is happening. And they did a study where they actually showed that the forest lowers stress hormones. Really, spending time in nature actually lowers your cortisol. It lowers your pulse rate and it lowers your blood pressure. So these are things they've measured. And again, I think we can feel that, but it's nice to have the science behind it. I also had another study where they talked about forest bathing, which I love the terms that we have now for things that humans have just always done. But it's like some new thing like forest bathing or grounding or earthing. And it's like, yeah, it's just a human being in nature. But anyways, they did a study on forest bathing, which is essentially just immersing yourself in nature in the forest for an extended period of time. But it was shown to actually put the body in the parasympathetic nervous state, in that rest and digest mode. They also found that it enhanced NK cells. So I did not know this. NK cells are natural killer cells. They are a specific type of white blood cell in the immune system that is responsible for fighting viruses and even early stage precancerous cells. And so in this study, they had a 3-day, so just 3 days in the forest bathing. So a 3-day forest bathing trip resulted in a 50% increase in those NK cells that sustained for over a month. So it's like, yes, it's regulating the nervous system by being in nature, but it's also enhancing your immune system. It's helping you fight off illness, fight off disease. And I'm sure there's plenty of more benefits, but that's what I've initially researched. Another thing I thought was very interesting were fractal patterns. So fractal patterns are already found in nature. They are repeating infinite geometric patterns. So you see these patterns in trees, you see them in clouds, you see them in coastlines, you can see them in leaves. I mean, they're everywhere in nature, and they're not in your man-made structures, right? Like in your house, you are not seeing fractal patterns. Humans are used to seeing fractal patterns. Obviously, over the span of human life, we have spent a lot of time in nature. And when we see these patterns, they put our bodies at ease, and it's shown it can reduce stress by up to 60%. There's also the sounds of nature, right? So like hearing birds chirp or sing, running water, hearing the wind blow through the trees. These sounds actually improve your vagal tone, which of course helps that parasympathetic state. The point here is through all of these studies, they've proven what we already know to be true, which is that nature is necessary and required for relaxation, for regulating our nervous system, for healing our bodies. But it's nice to have some science to back it up. So beyond that, what we already know is that we are not separate from nature. I think this is something that's happened with our modern way of living, is nature is viewed as other than, right? Like we're in our houses, we're in our rooms, and we think we need to go be in nature, when in reality, the abnormal thing is the house or the room or the computer that you're typing on. And the truth is that we actually are nature. We don't need to be in nature. We are nature. We are a part of nature. You wouldn't say that a tree needs to go be in nature. We are nature. It's where we belong. So instead of thinking it as other than, or thinking of it as we need to go be in it, we already are in it. And then when you return to nature, it is more of like a coming home to oneself. And nature does not have urgency. You know, another thing in our modern way of living, everything is go, go, go all the time. You don't see the sun like rushing to the next day. It's going to go in the way that it always has. It's going to stay in its rhythm. It's going to be steady. You know, nature does not rush. Nature stays at the pace it's at. And I think we have a lot to learn from that. So you're like, okay, Chelsea, we get it. Nature's good for us. What are we doing with this information? Well, the reason I bring it up is if you are feeling off, if you're feeling out of balance, if you have been in a sympathetic nervous state for a very long period of time, if you have chronic stress, if you have any of these, then what I might suggest is spending time in nature. Okay? So here's the prescription. Studies have shown that spending 20 to 30 minutes in nature 3 times a week. So are you able to spend 20 minutes in nature 3 days a week? If you do that, it has been shown to lower cortisol and HRV, heart rate variability. And by the way, this does not mean that you have to go forest bathe for 3 days. I mean, if you can, great. And again, that just means being in the forest. But my point is that you don't have to go somewhere very far away to be in nature. I mean, you can go in your backyard, just go outside. We just really want to find a place where we're outside. Maybe there's some trees, maybe there's some rocks, maybe there's some flowers around us, and we're spending time in nature, somewhere that is accessible and realistic for you. Also, can we be barefoot whenever possible? There's a lot of reasons that people think grounding is good for you, but again, it's something humans have been doing for a very long time. So can you be barefoot in nature? Ideally, can you be in nature without a phone, without tech? I've actually been doing this thing where I'm working outside, which I think is great, like compared to working inside. So pick the better of the two there. But ideally, we can spend time in nature without any tech around us. That is going to be the best option. Can you simply just like look up, these fractal patterns, they're in the clouds. If you can go in your backyard and lay on the ground and look up, when's the last time you've done that? And then of course, maybe just be bored. If you can actually have a moment of peace and rest, and if you can do it outside, allow yourself to be bored, you will actually find that this probably gives you enough energy, time, and space to create something. What have we learned today? Nature is good for us. Nature regulates our nervous system. Nature heals us, and we need to go be in it at least a few times a week. Now, before I end what is making me cozy this week, I suppose I need to choose nature, right? So, in the beginning of spring, I planted a garden and I am seeing the fruits of my labor, literally. I guess that's where that phrase comes from. But the tomato plant was actually flowering. I think, fingers crossed, I think I've done it. I think I've planted a garden and actually grew food in the desert. And whenever I go out there, I just am filled with joy to see it. So that is what is making me cozy this week. A little nature and life forming in my own backyard. All right, guys, go out there, get your nature in. Let me know what's making you cozy this week, and I will talk to you next week. Stay cozy. Bye.